Whoa, okay. So, have you seen this? A color Kindle. Seriously, a color Kindle. Can you imagine? Like, actually reading your favorite books, but in color on a Kindle.
Yeah, it's a pretty big deal, right? It's like for the longest time, these e-readers, especially Kindle, have been all about that crisp e-ink look,
Mm,
but black and white.
exactly. And I get it. The whole point was to mimic that paper feel. But color has always been that missing piece, right? And it feels like Amazon has finally cracked the code with this new release.
Absolutely. We've seen attempts at color e-readers before, but often it was a trade-off, right? You'd get color, but the battery life would take a hit or the reading experience wouldn't be as sharp.
Right, right. And knowing Amazon, they don't do things halfway. So when I saw Kindle Colorsoft Signature Edition, I knew this was serious. And from what I understand, the tech behind it is pretty impressive. They've managed to incorporate color without sacrificing the things that make Kindle great: the long battery, the crisp text, even in sunlight. But they did use some pretty techie terms in the articles I was reading, talking about like oxide backplane and nitride LEDs. Honestly, I'm not even sure what those mean.
Uh-huh. Yeah, it does get a little jargony sometimes, doesn't it? So imagine, how traditionally you'd have a backlight that tries to illuminate the entire screen with a white light
Hmm.
that can wash out colors, drain the battery. What they've done here with these fancy terms is essentially embed tiny colored lights, kind of like pixels themselves, into the display. So instead of shining one big light, each color is lit individually.
Oh, that's actually really cool. So it's like each pixel is its own little light source, making everything super sharp and vibrant.
Exactly. And because it's so targeted, it's way more energy efficient. So you get the color, the clarity, and the battery life all in one package.
It's like they really thought of everything. And did you see they've even added a zoom feature that doesn't pixelate illustrations?
I know, right? Finally. For books with maps, detailed artwork, anything visual, that's going to be a game changer.
For sure. It's like they're blurring the line between a physical book and a digital one even further. And it's not just the display, it's waterproof. It's got wireless charging. They're really going all out on this one. But this new color technology, it does make you wonder, will we start to see authors and publishers actually change how they design books now?
That's the big question, isn't it? I mean, we've been so used to designing for black and white e-readers that the possibilities with color are kind of mind-blowing. Cookbooks, travel guides, children's books, they could all look incredible on this new Kindle.
It's like a whole new world of book design is about to open up. But it's not all about the color Kindle, right? Amazon also dropped some pretty significant updates for the rest of their Kindle lineup, which we definitely need to talk about.
And on the topic of exciting updates, we can't forget about the Kindle Scribe. Now, this is a device that's always been about more than just reading. It's about engaging with the text, taking notes, really diving in. And with these new features, they've taken it to a whole new level.
Right. For those who haven't had a chance to play around with the Scribe yet, it's their note-taking Kindle, but it's so much more than just jotting down a few thoughts. So tell me about these new features, especially this in-book writing. What's that all about?
Okay, so picture this. You're reading, right? And you come across a passage, a quote, something that sparks an idea. Now, with the Scribe, instead of reaching for a separate notebook or sticky note, you can just write directly on the page right next to the text.
Whoa, so your notes are literally embedded in the book itself. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. It's like having a conversation with the author, right there in the margins. And it's not just about text. You can sketch diagrams, draw mind maps. Anything you can do with the Scribe's pen, you can do directly on the page.
I bet that's amazing for visual learners, those who like to see the connections between ideas. It's one thing to highlight or underline, but to actually be able to sketch and doodle right next to the text, that's next level.
Totally. And they've taken it even further with this new feature called Active Canvas.
Active Canvas. Okay, and I'm really intrigued. What is that?
So imagine this, your handwritten notes, they're not just static anymore. With Active Canvas, they can actually interact with the text. Some dynamic charts that update as you input data, or interactive diagrams that come to life with your annotations.
Hmm.
It's like turning your Kindle into a dynamic notebook where ideas can flow freely.
That sounds incredibly powerful. And knowing Amazon, they probably didn't stop there, did they? What else have they added to the Scribe?
You know them too well. They've actually integrated AI into the mix.
Oh, wow. AI. Okay, so we're talking next level note taking now.
Exactly. So think about those late night study sessions. You're buried in notes, trying to pull out the key themes. The Scribe can now analyze your handwritten notes, your handwriting, and automatically pull out the important stuff, summarize it, even organize it for you.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. It's like having a personal assistant who can decipher your scribbles and turn them into coherent summaries.
Right. It frees you up to actually focus on understanding the material, making connections, not just the rote task of note-taking. But it does make you wonder if we're increasingly relying on AI to summarize and process information for us, does that change how we learn? Are we losing something in the process?
That's a really good point. It's like with calculators, they're amazing tools, but you still need to understand the underlying math to use them effectively.
Exactly. It's all about finding that balance. Technology should enhance our abilities, not replace them. And with these new features, it feels like the scribe is moving in a direction where it's not just a tool for consumption, but for creation, for deeper engagement with information. It's pretty exciting.
Absolutely. So we've got the color Kindle, which could revolutionize how we read, and the Scribe, pushing the boundaries of active learning with AI. But let's not forget, Amazon also snuck in some updates for their other Kindle models, right? What did they do with the rest of the lineup? So we've covered the color Kindle, super exciting, and the Scribe with all its new AI tricks. But Amazon's got a whole Kindle family, right? What about the other kids?
Right. They didn't just play favorites. The Kindle Paperwhite, always a solid choice, got even better. They're calling it the fastest yet.
Fastest yet. Okay, but what does that even mean for actually reading? Is it like noticeably faster turning pages?
It's more about that overall snappiness.
Yeah.
Opening books, searching your library, it just feels more immediate. Less waiting, more reading.
Okay, yeah, I get that. Nobody wants to be stuck staring at a loading screen when they could be lost in a good book.
Exactly. And then there's the entry-level Kindle. Basic, but they gave it a little love too.
Yeah.
New color, matcha, they're calling it.
Matcha, huh? That's kind of an interesting choice. It's a nice color, but it makes you wonder, is this Amazon going after a younger audience with this one?
It definitely seems that way, right?
Hmm.
Especially with those fun new cover designs they mentioned. Space Whale, Unicorn Valley. It's definitely giving off those younger vibes.
It makes you wonder, are these the kids who'll grow up never knowing a world without color Kindles? It's wild to think about.
It really is. But all this new tech, it does make you wonder, are people ready for this much change in how they read?
That's the big question, right? Like some people, they'll always love the feel of paper that's never going to go away. But for others, this is like opening up a whole new world of reading. And the good thing is, Amazon isn't forcing anyone, right? They've still got the classic Kindles, the Paperwhites. It's about having options.
Exactly.
Hmm.
Reading is personal, and there's no right way to do it.
And with all these new Kindles, it's like having a library full of not just books, but ways to read them.
I love that. It's about finding what speaks to you, what enhances that connection with the story.
Well said. So we've got color Kindles, AI note takers, faster everything, even matcha flavored reading, if that's your jam. The future of reading is looking pretty exciting.
It really is. And with so much innovation happening, who knows what we'll be reading on or how in another few years.
That's something to ponder for sure. But for now, we want to hear from you. What do you think about all this new Kindle tech? Are you racing out to buy a color Kindle, or are you sticking with your trusty Paperwhite? Hit us up on social media. We'd love to hear your thoughts. And until next time, happy reading, everyone.